And we're live!
Hi.
Yay!
It's so nice to see you and
It's so
everyone
nice to
else.
see you. Thank you for coming on the show. I'm so happy to have you here.
Yeah, it's great.
This is awesome. So, hello everyone. This is Starlight
Hi,
Spellsinger,
everyone.
and today's guest is Miss Tova. Is that how you
Tuva,
pronounce Tuva? Okay,
Tuva.
that's what I thought. I don't want to pronounce it wrong. Tova the Norse Witch. I'm so
Yeah.
happy. So, we're going to get into her channel. We're going to talk about that. We're going to talk about her path and her practice. But before we dive into the meat of the show, let's play that intro video. Okay, there we go. Hello, Miss Alondra, and Raven is
Hi,
here. Raven's
everyone.
another Norse practitioner.
Yeah,
We have Summer X Lou.
yeah, that's my
It's your
granddaughter.
grandbaby. That's so cute.
Hi, Sam.
Midnight Lace.
Hi, Midnight.
Hey, girl, hey. So we made it. So do you want to introduce yourself? Tell everyone a little bit about you.
Well, basically, what you see is what you get. But yeah, I started off years ago when I was very small with my great grandmother, and unluckily, she died when I was quite young. But she did
Aw.
leave me her legacy,
Oh,
and
that's
that was,
beautiful.
yeah, she used to read the Norse stories to me. And when I got older, I obviously forgot as I got older, but something came back to me and started to look into witchcraft itself.
Mm-hmm.
And that's when I got involved in Alexandrian witchcraft and found myself the London Coven and joined it and
Wow.
got initiated, done all my training, got round to third degree, got my high priesthood, and it was then I realised it wasn't really my path, and
Mm-hmm.
but I still had that I wanted to be able to teach others what I felt inside. And so I went back to the Norse because I'd always felt drawn to it and always felt drawn to that place, Scandinavia. And I
Mm-hmm.
didn't know why until my daughter and son, they was always saying, "You don't look British, you're too pale."
Wow.
I had a DNA done and it come back that I was mostly Scandinavian. And I thought, no. So it sort of opened the door up for me because at that time you didn't get many practitioners that didn't do it, or they did it if they were Scandinavian or Norwegian or Switzerland, but not Britain. So I've had a lot of issues to do with the fact that I am British and I say that I'm a Seidr practitioner. But that's
Wow.
me.
Aw. Do you feel like your heritage had an impact on your practice?
Yeah, yeah. I really think having that sort of gave me the okay. And then I realised there's lots of other people out there that also wanted to practice it and felt that it was not for them, but it
Mm-hmm.
was because of what people said. And a lot went into British traditional witchcraft
Mm-hmm.
because that was the only thing open back then.
Right.
But it's good because it gives you that background, that all that training, and I wouldn't have not done it really. It was really interesting and it taught me a lot. But this stuff is totally different and it is more in the heart. And so, yeah, it opens doors really.
That's true. That's true. It's like a gateway. You know what I mean? You have to start somewhere. And if you feel like there's a call to something more,
Yeah,
then go
and
for it.
that's what I tell
Yes.
people. If you've got that feeling that you're being drawn then check it out, because it could be where you're meant to be.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely.
Mm.
That and Draven mentioned that the Scandinavian people, oh my gosh, I can't talk. The Scandinavian people were all through the UK and Ireland, though. I guess
Yeah,
because
that's
of,
right. Yeah.
yeah, 'cause
Mm.
they were all over the place conquering, so
This is
that
it.
that makes sense.
Which is why I don't understand why people have this problem with people in this country doing
Hmm.
it. So, yeah.
Right.
So I tried to come in with a little bit of the Anglo-Saxon, because that's more acceptable in
Hmm.
the UK, because we've got those roots with the Scandinavians and, you know, the Norsemen, and in fact the British, where is it? Can't think what it's called, up in Scotland. We've got the islands. They are mostly Viking. Their DNA is all Scandinavian,
Oh,
and they
wow.
have a festival once a year called Up Heli or Up Ali O, or and they burn a great big boat, and they have the whole evening with torches, dressed up as Vikings, walking through the town. It's quite amazing.
That sounds amazing. I'm
Yeah.
gonna move out there. I don't like where I'm at. Wow, that's awesome.
Mm.
Um,
I mean,
Sorry.
you're into Asgardi, aren't you?
Yeah, so I'm eclectic, so
Yeah.
like my path takes me where it takes me.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
It's mostly Celtic influenced, but
Right.
Scotty came in strong and like she had a lot to teach me.
Yeah.
And yeah, so I guess it's a mix of different things.
Oh,
So
yeah. Definitely. You know,
yeah, she
you
has
get
a
drawn to a
strong,
goddess that they come to you as well, and
yeah,
it's a real sort of friendship at the end.
absolutely. And it doesn't matter, you know, it doesn't matter like where you originate from,
I
because like
know,
if a deity pulls to you, they're,
exactly. Mm,
yeah, that's what matters.
no,
That's,
that's right.
yeah,
It's
like
just
what
it's just
Alondra said.
people, people, their attitudes. You know, people judge, and you do get judged. But luckily, the path I'm on, I'm now solitary, so I don't have to worry about what others think. What I do is what I do, and
Right.
but of course, my calling was to teach others everything that I know, and it's the calling of the high priestess to do that. So that's why
Mhm.
I've got my channel.
Okay. I was gonna ask why you created your channel.
Yeah,
So
my
you
way.
wanted to
Yeah,
pass down that information.
definitely, because people aren't always lucky to get into groups. And if they
Mhm.
do find a group, it doesn't always match up with what their expectations are. And if it's something in your heart and you can't find that group, there are books, and books are good, but there's nothing better than to be able to find that, get that relationship, and learn from the source. And so that's my aim, to get people to nurture what they've got and
Mhm.
find what they are, and use the things that everyone uses in the craft to get there.
I love that.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh. So how did you come up with your channel name?
And you know, that was one of my, because I originally started off as Gothic Witch, and that suited me when I was back in the other stuff, because it
Mm.
sort of fitted. And I did start the channel when I was
Mhm.
under that. But one of my viewers, who's German, and that's, yeah, he sent me an email saying, why don't you think about changing your name to sort of make it more to do with what you're doing, because it don't seem to fit. And I thought, you know, he's right. So I looked up my name, which is Tina,
Mhm.
in all the Nordic lands, and it can be Tuva. And I thought, oh, and that's
Oh.
why I did it.
Oh, wow. So that's like the English equivalent.
Yeah, Tina is the English,
Okay.
and Tova is other countries use it as
I
Tina.
love that. Do you know what it means?
Basically, in English, it means tiny, which is something I'm not.
Oh my goodness.
But it also is part of Christina, which I'm not. I'm actually Tina.
Okay.
Because a lot of people, I used to get in trouble at school. They used to say, "Your name is Christina." I said, "No, it isn't. It really isn't.
Mhm.
My name is Tina," and they tell me off because
Ooh.
it was very heard of back then. And but it actually means angel as well.
Aw, that's great.
Yeah.
I love that.
So yeah.
Mm. Aw.
But I love the name Tuva because it just resonates with me more than my
Yeah.
name. Yeah.
It sounds very powerful, you
Yes.
know?
Yeah. And when I did
Yeah.
change it, obviously it had a big effect on the channel. I lost a lot of viewers and that because they didn't understand why it had all changed.
Right?
So it took a while to then start to get more people to come in. So it was a big risk, really, changing the name. It was worth it.
Well, ultimately, the people that resonate with you will find you. You know what I
Exactly.
mean? Like,
Yeah,
whatever's meant to be, you know?
exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's my thoughts on it. A lot of people think, oh, God, I have subscribers. That's not what the aim of the channel is. It's to get to the people that are calling out for that training.
Right.
And then the right ones will come. So,
Absolutely.
yeah.
Absolutely. So, what do you have any goals for your channel?
Well, my main gain is to help as many as I can, really. And I would like to eventually maybe start up where people can get one-to-one teaching. But obviously, they've got to get in touch with me and ask for it. That is the one thing in British traditional witchcraft. We never got anything unless we asked for it. So, like when you wanted to do your second and third degree, which is done together, you have to
Hmm.
ask the high priest and the high priestess that you want it. You can't just expect them to say, well, she's ready, let's do it. And so that's my thoughts on it as well. If somebody really wants it, they contact me and say, I really want that. Would you? I would.
Aw,
Oh, excuse me, I've got a runny nose.
that's that time of year. It
Oh,
happens. um, so like, what kind of content do you create on your channel?
well, I try to mix it all around because I know different people like different things. But I
Mhm.
like to do stuff for beginners, so like meditative stuff, learning how to, leave your body and astral,
I
like
love
the one
those
I've just
videos,
done,
yes.
um, how to work with energy and things like that, which people that are just coming into it, that's going to help them to understand that it's about energy and it's about focus and intent, and also how to protect themselves, how to ground themselves, which is very important,
Mhm.
and also to drink water when they're doing their rituals and things. But I also want to do rituals when it's the right time for them.
Right.
Um, I'd like to eventually have maybe an open one where people can take part in it, so that everyone's there in the room. So, like something like this, but everybody on there doing their little bit and training them so that they can go off and set their own groups up. That would mean a lot to me that I've passed on enough for someone to be able to go and do that.
Aw, that's beautiful. So, your grandbaby said, honestly, Nanny, I'm so proud of you.
Oh, bless her.
You've come so far with your channel. And Starlight, could you read the comments aloud? Yeah, I'm trying to work on that and doing that better. It takes me a bit to read the
That's
comments
fine. I
because of the
know
eye
it
issue.
will. Yeah.
So, um, If it takes me a minute, I'll get there, I promise.
Fine, I know the feeling. It's people don't realise they see me with all my makeup on and say, "You haven't got eye issues." Yeah, I have, and it's very hard. But I've got a very big magnifying glass, and I really have to work at it.
Yeah,
But I'm determined to do the things that I can do, and
right,
yeah, um, people don't realise if they haven't got these issues like yourself.
right.
No,
Like, I have to magnify my screen so that I can
yeah,
even read the comments because,
and
like, it'll just look like lines on a white background if I don't, like, zoom in and blow it up, you know? So,
yeah,
yeah, and honestly, it's nice to know that there are other practitioners out there
yeah.
who have an eye issue because, like, you have someone to relate to and you don't feel so alone, you know?
This is it. It is nice to know that because when I was in the coven, we had like huge candlesticks on the altar, and you'd have to light them. And I'm short. I'm only 4'11",
Oh
and
my
to just be able to use thing and get up there was one thing, but because
Mhm.
I couldn't see it properly, I used to have to turn around to one of the priests and say, "Can you help me?" Because I just
Yeah.
couldn't do it. I couldn't find the wick.
And it's okay to ask for help, you know what I mean? Like, I
Yeah,
feel like a lot of us with that issue, you're too proud to ask, but, like,
sometimes.
if you need help, you need help, you know? Like, there's no shame in that, and if people make you feel ashamed of that, well, shame on them, you know what I
Exactly.
mean?
I mean, people don't know until they go through it, do they really?
Yeah, exactly. They don't know how to help you because it's not their situation, and it's not, like, the first thing that they think of, you know what I
Yeah.
mean? So
I've had times where I've walked along the pavement and not seen the bollard and fallen over it. Yeah.
Oh, I've been there. Been there.
Um, and and people just stand and laugh. Well, obviously they were my work colleagues, and I used to work on the big ambulances, and not the NHS, but the other sort we have where we pick up elderly people and
Mhm.
children with learning disabilities. So I would be all right with that, but it was silly things like I wouldn't notice something because one eye I'm completely blind and the other one it's partial. So it's it's quite difficult. But
Yeah.
you learn, don't you? You learn how to deal with it and you learn what you can and can't do. And
Yeah.
yeah.
It's like, I don't know any other way, so, like,
Mhm.
I'm working with what I got, you know? You could ask Midnight. Midnight's in here. We were at the mall
Yeah.
the other week, and I'm walking forward, and I walked into something, and it made this loud, like, boom, and, like, everyone's looking at me,
It's
and I have to use a cane because,
yeah.
like, I have no, like, lower
Right.
vision at all. I can't see what's below me unless I look
Oh, that's
down, so
difficult, isn't it?
Midnight said, when me and Star hung out at the mall, she walked right into the store sign. Yes, I did.
Bless you. Oh dear.
Do you
Yeah.
feel like your lack of sight, I don't know how to phrase that properly,
Yeah.
but, like, do you feel like vision loss has enhanced your practice in any way?
I do actually in some ways because it makes you go within, and
Mhm.
because you can't see the outer, you learn to see the inner, and the inner is very powerful, and it tells you what you need to know. And so that's why this practice that I'm in is perfect for that because I spend a lot of time in the different spheres and
Mhm.
all sorts of places. But when I do go, I've always got a helper with me,
That's
and
good.
yeah, they're always with me, and they will do crazy things like wake me up in the middle of the night to do a ritual. Now you're fast asleep, but you get told to get up and do a ritual, and there are reasons behind it. So I don't even say no because I
Mhm.
know that it's for a reason, and I trust them, and
Right.
I do it. And amazing things have happened from it. You know, I've had some amazing things with healings and all sorts of stuff. So I trust them. Yeah.
That's beautiful. Um, now, do you is it easy for you to visualize? You know, like visualization
Yeah.
during meditation?
Yeah, definitely. But then I was born with mediumistic abilities, so I think
Okay.
it was already there. So
Okay.
yeah, I could see things others couldn't when I was
Mhm.
young. My sister could as well, but she didn't like it and she sort of came away from it. But
Mhm.
it's always been with me. I've not cut it off. So I can talk to those that have passed. And I work with animals, with people that are distraught after losing their pets.
Okay.
They contact me and I can tell them about their pet. I can tell them where their pet is, how they are, if there's any messages. And so far, I've had good feedback on it. So,
Aw.
yeah,
When do you feel like those abilities activated for you?
it took many, many years of lots of practice. I'd say at one time I would be meditating for 3 hours a day. So you'd have the morning, in the middle of the day, and
Mhm.
night time. And they were like exercises as well. So you was expanding your conscious. Also, not allowing things of the world to, you had to spend a lot of time in the quiet. To
Mhm.
be in the quiet zone is where you hear and where you see. So to sit by a candle for about an hour just in the quiet, sometimes wearing what they call it, that you put round your eyes, and
Oh, a veil.
yeah, sort of deprivation of your senses. That really does help. And just to sit in that quietness, the best time really for that I found was the middle of the night. And you won't
Yeah.
actually fall asleep because you're sitting there in the quiet. You're not actually going to sleep. And
Mhm.
you will get through. It will take time, but you will do it. Everybody has these abilities. It just, you have to progress them.
Takes time.
Does,
A lot of time.
definitely.
But like that's awesome. Like it seems like you were very disciplined. Like there's no way I could meditate 3 times a day. You
Yeah.
know what I mean? Like
The,
that's
the
that's
coven
impressive.
taught me that. The coven taught me that because it was such hard work in those covens. Um, it was a lineage coven and it went back to the source. I was only 2 away from the source. So it was very regimented, very everything. It was very, very hard, but it taught me how to be in the zone, to be, if you want something, you work for it. And that's
Mhm.
what I did. And that's how I attained all my degrees. Not everyone does in the covens,
Right.
because it takes so much hard work. But
Yeah.
it's really benefited me. So I'm glad I did it now. Obviously, I couldn't do it nowadays, like what I had to do then. It was too much. I mean, it was hard work. But for anyone that's younger, that's great.
Just I mean, I don't know what I was gonna say.
Oh, it's
um, so Draven said, there's a whole ritual of going under the cloak and
oh,
a lot in Norse practices.
yeah.
Okay.
Inner seater, or I call it inner seater and outer seater, because one is outside. And if you're in Norway or Scandinavia, they have a lot of burial mounds and places,
Mhm.
ancient ones, and a lot of Seidr practitioners will sit in front of them and cover their faces with a veil, and they will sit for hours in just there absorbing the ancestral
Oh wow.
energies.
Oh.
and getting messages and being told what they're supposed to be doing. And I do that indoors, so I call that inner Seidr. So
Okay.
yeah, so I basically drum till I get to a state, cover myself, and sit. And because obviously we haven't got mounds, well, we have, but not as many, and they're far away, so I can't get to them. But you can sit in the park and do that. Obviously, you've got to find somewhere where no one's going to see you because you're going to be covering your face.
Mm-hmm.
But you get a lot from that. And when you practice, like I'm with Freya, she's very firm when she comes to me, but she's also very loving. But
Mm-hmm.
if she wants you to do something,
You better
and
do
you
it.
do. But yeah, she's been a real good guidance for me and has helped, definitely.
Aw. So Summer Lou said, oh, that's the wrong thing. Oh my gosh. There we go. Is it just me? I can sleep with my eyes open. Oh no, I can't do that. I know that's a random question.
You can do that. Everyone's got that ability, but what it is you're not actually sleeping, you're actually moving away from yourself and you go into a realm. So you might think it's a dream, but you're actually going to another realm. So your body becomes like it's not got you in it. So it just stays static and your eyes can be open.
Wow.
Yeah.
Um,
There's a lot of mediumistic people out there and witches that do not realize that they have this ability. And so it comes as a bit of a shock to some of them when they find out they can.
mhm.
And so it's nice to have people on YouTube, like all of yourselves, that give this out to help them, really.
Yeah. I feel like your videos are really helpful to people. Like you have like such a like nurturing and calm way of like teaching. Like I really like the way that you um
Try to put myself in people's shoes. What do they actually want? What are they seeking? And as I'm now in my cronies, I've become more like a grandmother, I think.
I
And
feel it. Yeah.
yeah, and Freya did say to me, because I used to come through in trance, she used to speak to people. When I do that, she's often got messages, but she told me that I'm a crone. You're a crone. Get used to it. And at that time, I wasn't ready to be a crone. But she made me see that it's a good thing. It's not a bad thing. And I've actually, I'm glad I'm a crone now. Whereas before, no, I don't want to get there. And that's the earth. That's life telling you you don't want to be that way. There's a lot of wisdom in being a crone. And
Mhm.
we've gained that over many years. And in the ancient times, that was celebrated. A lot of the Seidr practitioners and seers, they were old and were put on a pedestal, really. It's nowadays that people are like put on the scrap heap because they're old.
There's there's so much wisdom and power with age and like it's something that people should be honoring more. You know
I
what I
think,
mean? Like you did a lot of things to get there, you know? Like
that's right.
it's like they need to be venerated, you know? And
Yeah.
and honored. Your grandbaby said that your videos are always inspiring and um Draven said that Coven Elder energy. Oh, oh wait. Coven Elder freaking I can't talk. Coven Elder energy from Tova's videos. Um Lunar Sarah gave you a heart and Ian Sphinx
Oh, he's one
said
of mine. Hi, Ian. Thanks for coming.
that they're always down to earth. You're getting so much love in these comments.
It's lovely. Thank you,
It's
everyone.
beautiful. I love it. Um, so how long have you had your channel for?
Well, I originally started it back in 2009, but a lot of those videos I just they had to go because I didn't know what I was doing back then, and they were really not good. So really, I started it back in 2018, but I got very sick and couldn't carry on for a while.
Oh,
So then when I did come back, it was sort of the end of 2019, and that's when I put my full effort into it.
okay.
Mm.
Um, let's see here. Were you gonna say something? Who inspires you within the community?
Yeah, I was looking the other day, and I've got quite a few of those that have got hardly any subscribers.
Mm-hmm.
I like to try and support them because I know what it feels like when you're putting out stuff and no one seems to be interested.
Yeah.
So I try to do that. And am I allowed to mention certain ones? There's Snapping Moon, bless her. She's a lovely one if anyone wants to go and check her out. Um,
Aw.
yeah, she's lovely. And also Fiction Lady. I like Fiction
Mm-hmm.
Lady. But on the big ones, and of course yourself, and you're all right. You're
Aw.
the same as me. We're doing all right. But
Oh,
I
you're so
thought we
sweet.
love you. Um, there's obviously the big ones, Freya Norling
Yeah.
and Yona Yinton.
Oh, I love her.
She's
Like,
lovely.
I
She's
love her so
definitely a
much.
witch,
You could tell. She
aren't you?
doesn't say it, but you know it's
Yeah,
there. You know
definitely.
it.
And when
Yeah.
she does her calls and that, oh, amazing.
The cooning. I love that.
And there's a few others. Rhiannon, was it Rhiannon Moon or Rhiannon Harvest? I think she's called. She's very good.
Okay.
A lot of them are into, the making things as well. There's some good ones out there that do that, and it's very good the way they actually photograph it all, and just the way they present it. It's
Yeah.
very good. But because I'm always making videos, I don't always get time to go visit everyone, but I try.
Yeah. I mean, you can only do so much. You know what I mean? Like,
That's right.
it's very sweet that you support, the smaller channels because
Well,
they need
some of
love.
these are so good, and
Hmm.
because they're not sort of, the algorithm doesn't stick them out there.
Right.
They're not being seen, and I think they have a lot to offer, and
Absolutely.
just need that little bit of help to keep them going.
Yeah. This algorithm,
I know it's
it's so
terrible.
crazy. And
Yeah.
I'll try to do my best to like link the channels that you mentioned so that
Yeah.
way people can check them out later.
Okay.
Um
Yeah.
Aw, Draven said, I'd love to be like you when I'm older. Oh wait, that was your
Oh,
grandson,
bless
your
him.
grandkid. I'd love to be like you when I'm older, Nanny. That's so
Okay.
sweet.
Oh, thank you, darling.
Aw. And then Draven said, Yona posted a new song video last night. Yes, it was very good. It was very
Yes, she did.
good.
I watched it actually.
I
Very
love
good.
her.
The words were lovely.
So, for those who don't know, what is Seidr?
Seidr is a form, it's actually in some places it doesn't have a good name, and that's because some people think it's dark magic.
Right?
It's not. Well, it's the intent behind it, and you can get good and bad in any practice.
Mm-hmm.
So it's about being a visionary, someone that's close to spirit, to ancestors, that works for the good of others, that is very solitary and very into the inner. So it's a very lonely path in some ways, but
Okay.
it's great if you're older because that's where you want to be. You don't want to be out and about running around and doing stuff. It's a
Mm-hmm.
close relationship, but using mediumistic abilities as well, so you can aid those around you. So if you look back in, I don't know if you ever watched Vikings, there was
Yes.
always the guy that they would go to that would
Mm-hmm.
throw the runes and tell them their fates, and but he was being told that, so he knew what to tell them. And that's for
Oh.
me, when I do a rune reading, I'm not actually reading those pieces. I'm What I'm getting is what I'm giving. So it's connection with spirit, with deity, and if there's a message they want to get out, it comes through in readings. So I can give a person a reading without runes or anything. I can just look at them, the energy will come, I will know what to say, and I will tell them, and they'll either accept it or not. But a lot of stuff that I give can be for 6 months ahead. So
Okay.
in the past, I've had people go, "That's rubbish." I had a man where I said to him, "I'm being shown there's a tree, and if you're not careful, that tree is going to cause you a lot of trouble." He'd just moved into a new home, and he came back to me and he said, "That's total rubbish. I haven't even got a tree." I said, "Take it or leave it. You know, it's not my problem."
Yeah.
Come back 6 months later, there was a tree, and it was right under his house, and it caused him a lot of grief.
Wow.
But he wouldn't have known that, even
Mm.
though I told him. He would have had to have got the floorboards up to know that. And that was down to the people that built the house. They'd not done the foundation properly.
Wow.
So, yeah. So, what I get, I give. And that's one thing I would tell anybody if they're starting out with this sort of thing, is to believe what you're being given. Don't think, "Oh, that sounds silly,"
Mm-hmm.
because it might mean something to that person.
Absolutely.
So years ago, I used to do platform at the Spiritualist Church, and I was standing there, and I said to this old lady, "I'm being shown a teaspoon with it's got like Brighton on it, like in a picture on the top,"
Mm-hmm.
and everyone's like, "Oh," and she said, "Thank you." She said, "That was my husband's teaspoon, and he used to stir his tea with it."
Wow.
So when you get something, don't think, "Oh no, it can't be." You have to go with what you're given.
Yeah, don't doubt your intuition, you
Yeah,
know?
exactly. You
Absolutely.
have to believe in yourself to
Mm-hmm.
help others. Yeah.
Oh my gosh. All this wisdom. You're full of wisdom and inspiration. And I'm just so glad to have you on the show.
But it's lovely to
Um
meet you. Yeah.
so is Galder a part of your practice at all, out
I
of
do
curiosity?
Golda as well, yeah. I mean, that
Okay.
is using the voice.
Yes.
It's not just the voice, it's coming from the spirit. It's
Mm-hmm.
coming. But we believe also that we have many parts to our soul. So there are many facets to it. So if you imagine you've got one here, but you've also got maybe up to 7 of
Mm-hmm.
you elsewhere. One could be Euphelia, one could be yourself in a childlike way, with like what you wanted for the future. So the things that you're looking for. And you might have another part which is, what's happened in the past. And you
Mm-hmm.
gain all those things. You can't just be one bit. So when we do healings, we look for the parts of the souls that's missing. So we journey and we look for them with the person that we've got there. So you would put the person into like a trance. You would go into trance. You would
Mm-hmm.
meet with them, take them to find the part of their spirit that's missing, bring it back, coax it back, bring it back to that soul. And they will then have their issue will be a lot better because they're reuniting all the parts of themselves. So it's interesting, but it's different to what Christians would think. They think the soul leaves body, and that's it.
Right,
We
right.
don't. We believe that there are many parts to our bodies
Mm-hmm.
and the soul. Because if you look into the Norse teachings, Odin did the breathing. Then you had others that did other parts. You couldn't just be. the breath only. You had to have memory. You had to have focus. You had to have all the things that makes you be able to move and do things. You had to be able to think for yourself. We were two logs, and those two logs were basically given life and turned into humans via Odin and all the gods. And that's why I also do a lot of gratitude to them for that, because they could have just left us like what we was, but they didn't. Interesting, isn't it? Can't hear you.
Oh my
Oh,
gosh!
I was going to say, you're just sitting there.
I muted my microphone. Way to go. Oh my gosh.
What was you saying?
um so wow, how long did that happen for? Um
Quite a
so
bit.
your grandchild said that we should do this again sometime, and I'm saying I would absolutely love to have you
Yeah,
back
yeah,
because
it'd be
like
nice to
you
collaborate
have
together.
so much to share and it deserves to be heard, and like
Oh, because
everything's it's just so beautiful.
I just think that we all need to love each other
Mhm.
and to look past the faults, because everyone has faults.
Yeah,
No one is perfect,
absolutely.
and the gods aren't either. And that's another thing. That's quite a shock when you first
Mhm.
get to know them. You realize actually they've got faults as well, because they made us like them.
Yeah. Um, why do you think that is?
I think it's all a teaching. I think we're here to learn, and once we've learnt our lesson, I think that's when we leave.
Mhm.
But I also do think we obviously believe in the norms, the three norms. We believe that destiny is given to us at birth. We can change the small things, but we can't change our destiny.
Right.
So we have a set time. We have a set thing, and that's Nordic belief. That's the old Viking belief. So some people don't believe it. Some people do. Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. Um, so do you work with any other deities aside from Freya?
Oh, I often work with Odin when he gives me the time, that is, bless him.
Okay.
He's very fleeting. He'll often interrupt something I'm doing that I didn't expect him to pop in, and he'll show himself. So, like one day I was doing a ritual, and I have a huge chalice, a silver chalice, and it was sitting on the altar, and I was doing this ritual, and I looked into it, and then we had candlelight, looked into it, and I see
Mhm.
Odin's face looking back at me,
Oh wow.
and I could feel his energy, and it was like he was standing just behind me. But it's fleeting, he never stays long, but when he does show up, I know that I've got something that I'm going to have to be doing, and it will be made known to me. I also work with Tyr. I work with who else do I work with? Oh, Thor sometimes. And I've just started working again. I used to work with her, but I'm starting to work with Hell again.
Oh.
Yeah. And I think that's because of what I do. I'm always touching on the realm of death. So it
It makes
makes sense.
sense.
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. Okay. So, um,
You're running out.
I'm blanking out because like I'm just like so fascinated. So I'm looking at my questions. Yeah, we did that. So it has to be a different experience, like working with like Freya and Hell. That's two
Oh,
totally different
totally.
energies.
You say that, but there is still an aspect of the fact that Hell will take some and she will look after them for Freya, because Freya is the Valkyrie, the lead of Valkyries. And so she takes souls. Now, if some go to hell and are not meant to be there, then
Mm-hmm.
she looks after them and then takes them to Freya, and Freya will then take them to Folkvanger.
Oh
So,
wow!
yeah,
So they have a closer relationship
there
than
is
I
a
thought.
close working relationship. So, like, if I know, like, sometimes I get people ask me to help their loved ones pass over, like
Mm-hmm.
they're in the last stages and they don't want to see them suffer. So I get in touch with Hell, but I also get in touch with Freya and ask for their help. And funnily enough, believe it or not, the angelics will also come into that.
Oh
Um,
wow!
yeah, because I did my training in the angelics with the coven as well, so I can do all that stuff, but I don't do it as much. It's quite hard because you've got to write in their language, which is got no vowels in it, so it's very difficult. You also
Oh,
have to draw the squares of Mars and Jupiter, and that they're all linked to planets. But if you're going to be asking to bring someone over in a kind way, normally Michael would appear,
okay.
even though I don't ask for him to appear because he knows what's happening. You also get your guides come in, and also I seek Hell and Freya. So it's almost like the circle, because you've got the four quarters as such, and it just lets them be in the middle, being nurtured by the Great Mother and being taken. And
Wow.
yeah, it's a lovely thing. It's like if we have spirits in houses that need to be set on their path, that they're stuck. I've done that in the past. I've helped them over, and it's lovely because you can tell straight away that it's worked. The energy shifts, and yeah, it's really good.
So do Freya and Hell play a role in that when you're helping the spirits cross?
They do, because they
Okay.
work together to take that soul to, because there's a lot of people that have that inner soul in them, which is from the ancestral. So even though they may not have been a Norse practitioner in life, they
Mm-hmm.
still have that within them. And so that has to be met as well. So you've got everything there. If somebody is purely Christian, for example, but their ancestry goes back into something else, then to have everything there, because when you pass over, you become what you know that you didn't know when you was alive. So it helps them to know that they've got all that, and it gives them a peaceful passing. So yeah,
Okay. That's interesting. 'Cause, like, that's very life and death. You know what I mean?
very
And
much so.
they kind of
You have to be careful
coincide.
as well when you are doing this sort of practice, that you can live for the dead rather than life, and so you have to get a balance.
Yeah,
You really have to do that. Yeah.
that would make sense. Um, so like, are runes a part of your practice as
Yeah,
well? Like,
yeah, I do use runes. I also use, believe it or not, I've got two antlers that I will use when I'm connecting over fire, and I will bang them together. That will bring forth message. It will bring forth what I need to know. It will come in the flames as I'm banging the antlers, because that's ancestral. They're very old, and just by tapping them, it's putting that energy into the flame, so you can scry in the flame. It's
Oh.
amazing what you can see in the fire. Yeah. They call it the fire of Asriel, and it isn't a hot flame. When you get to that moment, you could actually put your hand on it. It will feel cold. It's very strange. Bless you.
Thank you.
Yeah,
Oh,
it's very strange. We used to do a lot of that in the coven as well. Yeah.
wow. So is fire scrying a big part of your practice?
Yes. Even if it's only a
Yeah.
candle, or I'm burning incense, even with the smoke that comes off of sage, you can
Yeah,
see things in the smoke. Um,
absolutely.
oh, it's amazing what you can see if you want to see. Some
Do you
people
have
block.
any videos on that?
I'm trying to get through a list of all the things people want. At the moment, I've had a lot of requests for doing herbs and plants, but then not everyone wants that. And you get people that want rune readings, but then
Hmm.
the views don't come. So you don't know really what people want.
Well, it ultimately comes down to what do you want?
It's,
Like,
well, yeah,
you know,
yeah,
like I get it. Like, you're posting content for people. However, post
yeah.
what you want to post because, that's, yeah, that's,
I did get into a bit of a pickle earlier. I thought I'd do one every day. And I'd done it for about a month and a half. And
yeah.
I cannot do this anymore.
That's so draining. It takes a lot of
Yeah,
your time. You can
yeah.
burn out. Yeah. Yeah, I've
Especially,
never I couldn't.
no, I wouldn't be able to do that again. So,
I don't blame you.
and
There's
the
no way I
gods were
could.
telling me, they were telling me, because everything I was seeing was about people's mental health on YouTube. I'm thinking, I think I'm not listening.
It's a sign. Oh, I punched the
Definitely a
mic.
sign.
Oh my gosh.
Oh dear. Sometimes we can give it all out, but we don't listen to our own.
Yes,
Really funny.
absolutely.
The girls must be going, oh, thank goodness, she's finally sorted it.
So, what what's the video that you made that you're the most proud of?
I don't think I've got one, to be honest. I mean, I'm always pleased with what I've done. I think
Mhm,
each time I try to do the editing a little bit better, just so that it's more enjoyable for the viewer.
mhm.
And I cannot get to grips with some of these editing programs because I can't see properly. It's very
Yeah.
difficult. They make it all so small, and then I
Mhm.
think I've got it, and then I do something, and then it undoes something else, and so I've got a very basic editing program which is large, and I can see what I'm doing, and I just think, you know what, I'm just doing it the way I do it.
Yeah, you have to accommodate yourself,
Exactly. Yeah.
because yeah, video it's it's hard to do. Like
Yeah.
I totally get it because I have to like make my screen to where like that
Yeah.
editing panel is like that big.
I know, and then you can't get everything because it all goes off the screen because
Yeah.
it's. I know.
Uh-huh. It's a pain in the ass.
Isn't it? I think we just need a great big screen.
Yeah. Um. Aw.
In fact, I bought these huge they're glasses where you put different things in to get it larger and larger and larger.
Mhm.
But then it warns you if you do it on the largest one, it can cause problems. So,
Yeah. And Summer said, Nanny, you're an amazing editor. Don't let anyone tell you different.
oh, bless her. So are you. She's got a
Aw,
channel too, bless her.
she's so sweet.
She's doing really well.
Aw. Um,
Summer X Lou, if anyone's interested.
oh, you have a channel. I'm gonna have to check it
Mm,
out.
yeah,
Oh, I'll add your
she's
link to
doing
the
well.
description. Okay. Aw. Um, so in your opinion,
Mm.
what is magic?
Magic is within us all. It's in nature, it's in the air. You can't do anything. We can't live without magic. And I believe magic is there for anybody. It's something where you can change. You can change things by thinking. Thought made word, made deed. That is something I've always stood by. So what you think, then you manifest it. So that's why even in the Bible, it tells you when you've thought something, you've already committed that sin, because thought, the word comes out, the deed is done. So in
Wow.
magic, when you think it, you get the intent, you speak it, it is done. You just have
Hmm.
to believe it's done. But yeah. People think, oh, magic is one of these things, you get a wand and you go like that and it happens. No, no, it's a lot of work involved, but
Hmm.
you can achieve it. Well, you would know that. I mean, you do a lot of spell works and stuff, don't you?
Yeah. So it's your intent, and if
Yeah,
you don't believe in yourself, it's not going to work.
of
So
course not.
you have to believe in your ability, and don't
And
doubt yourself.
in the coven, they always taught us when we do our magic, you don't think about it. Once you've
Yeah.
done it, you don't think it, you don't talk it, you leave it.
That's one
Otherwise,
way.
yeah,
That's
otherwise you're
absolutely one
stopping it
way,
from working. So yeah, yeah,
Yeah. Like I feel like there's two ways of doing that. You can leave it and let it be, or like you can keep feeding it.
oh yeah,
Like this has been going on for like a year or two, and you just keep putting energy into something, and
oh yeah,
you
yeah.
know,
I mean, it's like knot spells. You can do the knots and leave them for a while, and then come back and add a knot or take one away. So yeah,
right.
do all that.
Yeah. I guess it's situational, you
Yeah,
know.
and also sometimes when I'm walking around, if I've done some work, the ravens or the crows will be around me all that day, almost like they're telling me.
Oh,
Even the person that, because I work with children on the bus, and my driver who looks after me because she knows all my problems,
yeah.
she'll see them. She'll go, there's another one that is looking at you. I'm going, I know.
Oh
And
my goodness.
yeah, and it's always when I've done work the next day, I get all these ravens or crows.
Do you think it's like validation? Like, hey,
Yeah, I think
you know,
so. Yeah, like the
absolutely.
message is being heard, because
Yeah.
they're the messengers. So,
And can't they, carry
whether they're Odin's,
yeah,
to, and that's thought and memory. So yeah,
there you go.
yeah, and they'll always
So
do something weird as well. They won't just sit there; they'll stare at you, but they'll also do a little dance or something. You think, okay, how Odin, then they'll go.
and Draven said, thoughts become words, words become actions. Um, all our energy from the first spark of the idea. Be careful of your thoughts.
Yeah,
Yeah. Um.
can be very
Yes.
difficult, but it is something that we should all try to work towards.
Right.
Because many words are spoken in the moment and then regretted afterwards.
Right. But then, like, you have to think like people with intrusive thoughts that can't
Yeah.
help that. I don't feel like that applies. You know what I mean? Because they're just trying to.
Yeah.
Yeah.
See, when you have a compassionate spirit, sometimes we can get ourselves caught up in something through others doing these sort of things.
Mm-hmm.
But when you get an intent behind it, and it is not
Yeah.
a bit like all these people, I mean, the voice is going round saying that Norse practitioners are racist and all this.
Mm-hmm.
Well, there are racist people in Christianity. There are racist people all round the world in different forms of worship.
Mm-hmm.
And that is something that I don't think we'll ever be able to obliterate. So
Yeah.
we distance ourselves from it and we
Right.
do what's right for us. I don't think you're ever going to change something like that because it's ignorance at the end of the day.
Absolutely.
But I remember when I watched Draven, Michael, and he was saying about, all the symbols that have been changed thanks to them. Only if you let it.
Mhm.
I believe they still got that magical part to it, but
Right.
as long as you're not in the company of those that are using it in the wrong way. You
Absolutely.
know, like if you're going to use Sewilo, use it on its own. Don't put the two together to make the
Mhm.
sticker. Just use it as Sewilo. Um, things like that.
Right.
But everyone to their own. It depends where you are, what you're seeing, and who you know. And I know that a lot of people don't like the Astro worshippers because
Mhm.
that's where you get a lot of this going on. But it
Right.
is different when you're a Norse pagan or Norse heathen. A Seidr practitioner has nothing to do with that. So, you know, we keep ourselves to ourselves and we practice with spirit. So
Yeah, it's unfortunate that like that kind of company can give a bad reputation and
definitely.
misconceptions to
Yeah.
the other half. You
Yeah.
know, it's
And it
yeah.
taints every religion in the world. You've got people going on about the Islam, you've got people going on about all the different religions. There's
Yeah.
always somebody trying to badmouth.
It's everywhere. It's
It is,
everywhere. Exactly what you said.
yeah.
And Summer said, I love you, Nanny, and you haven't seen stuff yet, but I think I told you like I sent stuff and
She,
more than anything, yes.
she's my little trainee, aren't you?
Aw,
Yeah,
so sweet.
yeah. She's learning the runes at the moment.
Aw.
Yeah.
See, you're passing down your legacy not just through
Yeah.
YouTube, but you know, that's beautiful. I love that. Um, uh, and, uh, and she feels like she can communicate. Oh wait, what the? Oh, Draven. Okay. Oh my gosh, I'm going all over the place. Like comments. She feels like she can communicate with all things. And Draven said, "Oh my gosh, these comments are going by." Um, I very much agree with you, Tova. Um, yeah, there's a lot going on in the chat.
Oh, bless.
So, do you have any advice for anyone wanting to get into the Norse path?
Yeah. Don't always go by what you read. It is a very personal pathway. Obviously, books, as I said before, are good. If you're going to read books, read the source, even though it was wrote by Snorri Sturluson, who was Christian.
Mm-hmm.
There's still a lot to be got from them, and that's the Poetic Edda. You know, the all the Eddas really are good. There are other books which are unpronounceable for me. I can write them down, but I can't say the words. Um, but there's some really good stuff in there. If you can read the poems, they are long and you have to get yourself in the mindset that it is in the past.
Yeah.
But there's also some very good stories of the gods and the goddesses. It gives you that first step. And then if you still are interested, that's the time to start to meditate on a god or a goddess that you feel drawn to
Mm-hmm.
and ask for more knowledge, and then find out by researching what colors they like, you know, the different things that you can do to entice them, giving offerings and things like that. Go out in nature a lot, touch trees. They are the ancestors of us. If you believe in the beginning, where we were two tree stumps, we were logs, then we have an affinity with trees. And that's why people, when they first become pagan, love the moon and they love trees.
Yeah.
We have that bond with them. So if you sit under a tree in the park and meditate, you will get so much. And it might take a while, but once you get on it, you can't leave it. Once you've got that calling and you're into it, you've just got to keep reading and learning and meditating, and it just grows from there.
Mm-hmm.
Never let anyone tell you what you're doing is wrong, because everyone's path is separate. Even if you're in
Absolutely.
a coven, you know, you're still separate beings with different thoughts and feelings. So be guided by your instinct, guided by what you want to be doing. And if you like a certain thing no one else is doing, research it and then try
Mhm.
it. Practice.
Yeah, you like it's one thing to learn, but like
You can't be
experience can be the biggest teacher. Yeah.
definitely. I mean,
Mhm.
if you don't know, and when you live, like I live in a very crowded area, I'm in London, and if I can't get to the park, I get earth from my garden, put it in a bowl, and I put my feet in it.
There you
And
go.
just doing that, when you close your eyes, you're linked with the earth,
Mhm.
with that energy. And you can do it with water. You can put your hands in water, your feet in earth. You can have a fan on for air
Mhm.
and a flame in front of you. So you can have all the elements.
Yeah, right there.
Yeah.
So, do you have a favorite Norse tale?
I think the best one for me was, I'm trying to think, there's so many, but I love the one. Thor is always made to look silly, like he's a bit silly. He doesn't know what's going on, but he does know what's going on. And the stories of Loki, I think the one where he has his, I don't know if I can say it on here, his scrotum
Yeah.
called because he had to pay for the death of Skadi's father.
Mhm.
Uh, I like that one because he got his just desserts and he was pulled by a goat.
That's my
And, oh,
favorite.
you like that one as well?
Yes, that's my favorite.
I just think
I
it's
love it.
so good that he got his just desserts.
And then, like, he got it even worse because of Scotty dripping the venom
Oh,
over
yeah, that was
him.
horrible, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Really. But then you got to realise what he'd done,
Mhm.
and you know, and now we've well, poor old Odin and all of them are gonna. But it
Yeah.
doesn't say that everything will end. In fact, it's the son of Odin that's going to take over. So, at the end of the day,
Yeah.
people say, has it happened yet? Or is it all fables? Or has it happened already? Only you can know from your relationship with them.
I feel like there's some truth to it. You know
I
what I
do.
mean?
I
These
do.
they were these myths were given to us for a reason,
Yeah.
like it's knowledge that we're meant to have,
And to
you
be
know.
honest, it's no different to in the Bible. You've got all the stories in there that people believe.
Mhm.
you know, Mary the Virgin has a baby, and
Right.
you've got, and that's not putting religion down, but you have got different stories which seem unbelievable, but are
Yeah.
believed, and it's the same in Norse mythology.
Absolutely.
So yeah, what's good
So
for everyone's good for us.
yeah, everyone's allowed to have their
Yeah,
background, you know what I mean? Would you be open to questions from the audience and then
yeah,
wrapping
of
up?
course, yeah.
Okay. So if anyone has any questions for the lovely Tuva, feel free to like shoot them down in the comments and she's here to answer. And also I'm going to grab the invite link to the Discord in case anyone wants to join. I have the Open Circle Discord server. It's just a place where you can come in and chat about all things witchcraft and paganism. I've been listening to music in there a lot lately. Invite people. I'm just gonna share that in there as well. The only restriction is that you have to be 18 and over to join, just because I don't feel comfortable giving religious advice to minors. So
That's a good point.
it's better to be safe. Um, so there's the link. Aw, Summer said that we're both so pretty.
Oh,
Oh, you're so sweet.
oh, thank you, Summer.
um, and then Ian said, I love Thor's riddle too.
Oh,
I can't
hmm.
pronounce that. So, um, But yeah, if you have any questions, feel free to share. I don't want to keep her too long. Here we go. Okay. Um, so this is from Summer. Wait, Nanny, is your
Is Persephone?
Persephone and her husband Norse?
No.
That's Greek. That
No,
would be
it's Greek,
Greek.
darling. And that's she goes down to Hades for 6
Mm-hmm.
months of the year. Yeah.
Yes. Mandy Moonlight, hello.
Hello.
We're just wrapping up, but you can always watch the replay because
Yeah.
Tuva can't get the pronunciation right, but she shared a lot of wonderful information. Um, okay, what's your oh shit? um, what the comments are jumping all over the place. Thank you, Miles.
Favourite
What's your favorite
park in
park
London?
in London?
Well, I like Hyde Park, but I live out on the outskirts of London, and we have small parks all around us, and I've got one opposite me, which is ideal for me to get to. And it's very small, but it's got a
Mhm.
little stream running through it, and it's got some trees. And in fact, Ian works in there. He's a parks.
Aw.
Yeah.
Oh wow. So Ian's local. That's awesome.
Well, yeah, I've never actually met him, only on my channel, but I know that he works in the parks because he's
Aw.
mentioned that particular park. But yeah, so yeah, it's cool. I mean, if I'm in London, then Hyde Park. It's a lovely park. Yeah.
Aw. Do you have any place that you would recommend visiting in London or
Oh
in the
yeah.
UK in general?
Yeah, if you come to Chislehurst, which is outside London, it's not far. If you come into London, you just get a train to Chislehurst. There's caves there, and those caves have got they go back to Druid times, and there's
Ooh.
tours that take you down there. And in the Second World War, people used to stay down there. They had like a hospital in there and a church and all different cave bits with numbers on with beds in, and people used to stay down there during the air raids. And yeah,
Wow.
it goes to Roman times. Part of the caves is all Roman, and the Druids where they did a lot of killing, their
Yeah,
sacrifice.
sacrifices. Yeah.
So it's got some good vibes down there, like spiritual vibes.
Oh
Ghostly.
wow.
People get touched because it's dark. You're given
Ooh.
a little lantern and you walk around, but yeah,
Oh, I want to go.
really good.
So, sacrifice back in the old days was done by a lot of different pagan cultures.
Yeah.
Now, sacrifice these days, and what, in your opinion, what is sacrifice now?
Well, you can do obviously blood sacrifices,
Mm-hmm.
but not. I mean, down to the individual. I would never hurt an animal or
Right.
anybody. So if I want to use blood, I use my own because it is powerful in
Mm-hmm.
work. So, but it's not for everybody to do that. But also, you can sacrifice time
Yeah.
and effort and helping others, and also thinking on what you can do for the gods, just spending that extra time with them, learning a bit more about them. And there's all different ways you can give sacrifice. Doesn't always have to mean something suffers or you have to do something, but obviously
Right.
you can use all different parts of the body. You can use saliva, things
Mm-hmm.
like that. It's powerful stuff. If you're going to be doing something that needs that extra oomph, then yes, but not on a regular basis.
And like they sacrificed animals back then because it's something
Yeah,
that was meant a lot to them. You know what I mean?
but
Like,
it was also done at specific times. And for example, at Samhain or winter filing, that would be when the animals would be brought between the fires, and so
yeah,
that the fleas would be got rid of, and then they would be obviously sacrificed to the gods.
yeah.
But then that meat and that clothing, they would make clothing from the fur
Mm-hmm.
and rugs and bed linen. They would also use that meat and put it in salt in the thing to feed for the winter. So
Mhm.
there was a reason for it, and I
Right.
think that is okay. It was done very quickly, and the animal probably didn't know as much as how they do it these days in the
Yeah.
stores. So I think in that aspect it's fine if it's necessary.
Mhm.
I mean, you get people saying don't wear furs and that, and I have got a fur, but it's not what I bought. It was passed down through my family,
Right.
and it has an energy to it, and it's not just worn because I like it. It's worn for that energy, for that
Absolutely.
ancestral thing.
Yeah.
Obviously, I wouldn't wear it outside because you'd probably be stoned.
Oh my goodness.
People do not like it. And I can agree, I don't like animals suffering just to get their furs. That's
Right.
nice.
Right.
But
But
for
like if
food,
that's a way of your life, like if
yeah,
you need to
yeah,
kill that animal to get that meat,
yeah.
that's how it was, and sometimes that's how it still is, you know what I mean? Like,
And
yeah.
myself, I'm a pescatarian, so I don't eat meat. So yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
All right. Well, I don't want to keep you too long. Like,
Yeah,
okay. So I would love to have you back on in the future if that's something you'd be
that's
interested
fine.
in. Okay, good. Because like I feel like we barely scratched the surface. Like
Mm,
there's so much more that you could talk about, and I could
yeah.
listen to you talk for hours. But
Oh,
like, if you want more of Tuva, the link to her YouTube is down in the description. So if you're not subscribed to her, where have you been? Go check her out. She's amazing, and
so are
there's a
you.
wealth of knowledge.
So are you.
Aw, thank you.
You're doing so well with all of this. I mean, you're
I'm
brave.
trying. I don't do it as much as I'd like to,
You do it when you
because
want to, and that's the
yeah,
best way. Because that's when
absolutely.
your energy's right then. Because you're not forced to do it. You're doing it when you want to. Mm. Like all you lovely people out there.
And Lunar Sarah can't wait to binge videos on your channel.
Oh, thank you.
You're gonna love her, all her stuff. It's amazing. I love like your drumming videos and
And my drum is so close to me. It's like a
mhm,
part of me. And when my drum goes, I go. It's a connection.
yeah.
Very much into my drum.
I'm waiting to get one
Are you getting one? That'd be
at some
great.
point soon, hopefully. It's
Yeah. Oh, they're really
soon.
good. When you get it, do the ceremony over it. Um, you know,
Absolutely.
I mean, there's different ways of doing that, of course.
Yeah, I definitely wanna bless it,
Yeah,
consecrate
definitely.
it, all that stuff.
And I
So,
slept with mine. I slept with mine when I first got it.
bond with it, you
Yeah.
know?
And it's a bit like when you put tarot cards or, your runes or your crystals under your pillow. Obviously,
Yeah.
I couldn't put my drum under my pillow, but I put it
No.
in the bedclothes with me for about a week, and it does bind you together.
Yeah, and Alondra said, Tuva, oh my gosh, Tuva, I love your energy,
Oh,
and
thank
I'm
you.
so glad you were on the show. I'm very
Oh,
glad
thank
too.
you. It's lovely to meet you all. Not that I can see you all, but I feel the vibes.
Yeah, feel the love.
Feeling the love. I give you a virtual hug, all of you,
Yay!
from London.
All right, well, I think we're gonna wrap this
That's
up.
great. Oh, it's been
Again,
lovely. It's been lovely to talk to you.
it's
Um,
been amazing.
yeah.
It's a great experience. Thank you all so much for coming and hanging out with us and chatting with us. It's been great, and hopefully we can have her back on in the future. Until next
Wonderful.
time,
Bless you, all of you. Have a lovely
bye.
evening. Bye.
Bye.
Bye.